This. There we go. Hey team, my name's Bo, Bo Hodaki from the Centre for Multicultural Youth. Look, first of all, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the lands in which I'm gathered on today. I'm also on Bunurong and Wurundjeri lands in the beautiful sunshine, but it's not really sunshining today. So I'm actually heading to the Gold Coast tomorrow. I'm trying to escape this cold. So I'm looking forward to that. But yes, I'm Bo. I'm the project lead at CMY. I have actually been around at CMY for about 4.5 years. Worked on a whole bunch of different other projects, but in the last couple of years, have been heading up the youth-led unit, which we're here to present today. So yeah, I'm joined here today with Kevin, Kevin Karpeke, who you should all know as well. Kevin is I guess an OG of the youth-led unit. He's been involved since the beginning of us really looking at what this is going to be. And I might actually quickly throw over to Kevin to introduce himself.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me? Amazing. Well, I'm Kevin. Usually dialing in with my Vic Health hat on, but put it aside today to discuss with Bo our work with the youth-led unit. I work with Vic Health as engagement coordinator for young people, and I was very privileged to join the inception of the youth-led unit, I guess 2 years ago. So it's been a very long time. As one of the founding people and the OGs, as Bo put it, and they're very thrilled to be presenting about it today.
Amazing. And I've just started to share my screen, so hopefully you can all see that. Now, so we're going to try to do this in 10 minutes. I know we've got 20, but we're going to try to do it in 10. And then just to allow some time for questions, because I know you probably have burning questions to ask us about the youth-led unit. But before we get into that, I really just wanted to cast your minds back to 2020, the year that was 2020. Not a very good year. I think we're all a bit traumatized by that year. COVID was coming around the corner. We had all these things happening in the world. The George Floyd situation that triggered the Black Lives Matter movement, which also triggered a lot of things for us here at home. We had sort of situations happening more locally around the Melbourne Towers, and CMY sort of recognized that there was this increase of youth voice that was happening. We're not saying that before 2020 there was no youth voice. We're just saying that at the time we recognized that there was an elevation of that happening. So we wanted to, the CMY board, sort of recognize that and want to say, hey, how can we create a space? Now that CMY has been in the game for about 30 years, how can we create a space for young people to create, to design, to deliver services for young people, by young people? And for CMY to be historically a youth-informed organization, so we have, things like YAG groups that inform us on our services. We didn't have a dedicated space for young people to actually come in and say, hey, this is what we want, and this is what we want to deliver it. So really, we started to come together and create this space. So I just wanted to set the scene, and that's sort of where we started, and that was in 2022. So I came on board sort of mid 2022 and started to bring a group of young people together. Now, before I get into that, just I wanted to quickly touch on who actually are we, who's CMY, and so the Centre for Multicultural Youth, we're a not-for-profit organisation, and we're based across Victoria, and we provide specialist knowledge and support to young people from migrant and refugee backgrounds. Now, we've been in the game for about 30 years. We've been working to ensure over those 30 years that young people from migrant and refugee backgrounds have every opportunity to succeed. And we do this by removing barriers by young people faced as they make Australia their home. Through a combination of support services, programs, we do sector capability building, advocacy, and knowledge sharing. So our work is primarily focused in the growth corridors of Melbourne's northwest and southeast regions, but we also work in our regional centres in Ballarat and Gippsland. And we're also looking at other areas that we could work in. I've currently been doing a bit of work in the Barwon region as well. So just a little bit about CMY there. And I'm going to throw over to Kevin.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, this was the original group of young people who signed on to be a part of this unit. Very interesting. I was reflecting on the attraction process to join. It was very different to anything that I've done before. There were words like business case or business unit being put out there, youth led. This was my first time personally. I guess, hearing the word youth-led, because I'd always been part of programs that were youth-informed, at least up until that point. And even the idea of you have to present or prepare a business case was also new to myself too. But anyway, very keen to try it out. And this was, again, the original group of young people. We had Afra, who is up to the very top, who's a consultant and was a very great facilitator. Anyak, who is a volunteer in the South News community, as well as a youth worker, Kano, who is a great facilitator as well, and experienced amongst numerous youth groups. I'll just skip myself. And we also had Ariana, who volunteered with Pacifica Communities, and the screen's just covered the next person. Dorothy, who is our CMY intern. The other one, we had Napol, who was a doctor, but was also interested in conversation and work around decolonialization and racism advocacy. Shira Rose, also very well known amongst different youth groups and youth participation areas, and a great speaker as well. And Leslie, who is an expert in comms and business and is an international student. And then Rosie, who was our youngest at the age of 18, having just finished year 12. And then obviously we had Bo, was our project lead. The two first phases were very different. The first one was I don't know if you can still hear me, by the way. I feel like my microphone just dropped off.
Yeah, but it's okay now. It's back on.
No worries. Yeah, the first stage, this research phase, between almost a year, but not quite, December 2020 to October 2021. Initially, we did our internal CMY research, understanding how the organization worked, the capacity and capabilities that were already existing in the organization. Talked to a range of staff members to get an idea of what was possible, what had worked before. This also included research from external places as well. And I think one of the lessons here was around providing time and really being given almost a year to just do research and talk to people was very helpful for us, because it provided the opportunity to make mistakes and be comfortable making mistakes. We had a lot of back and forth, a lot of planning, and sometimes in developing this business case no one had really done before. We would get halfway, then start again, then get halfway again, then start again, until we got comfortable with what we knew and what we didn't know. The difference with the phase 2 being that we got to a point in 2021 where we began a very clear code design process, split into teams over about 20 weeks, and trial some of these ideas that we had. Again, making mistakes and starting again and being comfortable to do so, and knowing that not all of the testings we're doing were going to return positive results. So we were now looking at the purpose, which I think we'll see a little bit later on. And this took a while to get to this point as well. Understanding the details, the outcomes we wanted to achieve, the lessons, the back and forth, and again, starting again. And then this was really driven by young people. So the whole process up until now was just us, understanding that the board would support anything we did. And I think this speaks to that nature of youth-led, again, knowing that we have no restrictions. We're able to use any amount of money we needed to get through this, which was quite a good experience for us. In phase 2, we're looking as well at what was tangible, because we'd spent a lot of time ideating, sometimes, ideas that weren't always doable. Market analysis was already out there, and what was working and what wasn't working. I'll let Boyd talk about the launch that we're at now.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So now we're at where we are now. So 2 years down the track, we're ready to launch the Youth Ed unit. And so like Kevin said, right up until now, over the last 2 years, it's primarily been led by young people. We've got young people there, they're leading us. Now we needed to sort of come back to CMY and say, hey, how can we fit within your structure? primarily being, again, a youth-informed organization. They have their own board. How do we start to formulate a structure that allows young people to have decision-making powers? So in some ways, CMY had to decide, okay, what can we let go of when it comes to decision-making so that young people can do that themselves? So we've then set up in the last month, we've created a committee of management, and our lovely Thomas from Yakvik has also been is on that committee of management, and Kevin's also continuing on. And we've got an amazing, diverse range of skills and experiences that sit on that committee of management, with a really great representation of multicultural young people across Victoria, as well as young people from Melbourne, Metro Melbourne, and regional Victoria as well. So we sort of had to, there was a lot of work that happened within this time frame, and how we ensured that that youth-led framework can survive, I guess, and how does that fit within CMY's current structure. So again, setting up a committee of management, and the types of decision-making powers that sort of sit there are things around the strategic direction of the unit, the types of services that will be delivered, funding applications, what external and internal partnerships are we going to be making, lots of different things. And we've done a whole racy model around what that looks like, and where does the decision-making powers sit, from our executives teams to our committee of management right through to our board. And so that was a massive process that we went through. And then CMY really coming at the back of these young people, and at the back of CMY, at the back of the youth ed unit, with that operational management support, the reputation and the brand that CMY has, the 30 years experience, and the vast skills that we have across the organization. Now, I am conscious of time, and I haven't even touched on what are we actually doing, but we're going to power through this. And what I'm thinking as well, I mentioned this to Kevin, I was like, I feel like we're not going to have enough time, but we're going to pull together a one-pager on what the services of the youth ed unit are, and we're going to send it out to the network. So we'll get that out by the end of the week. So the youth ed unit, looking at, this is their value proposition that we came up, and this again took a long time. So enabling multicultural young people to challenge structural inequity through pioneering inclusive and innovative youth-led solutions, and advocacy for the prosperity of current and future generations. And how we look at doing that is through three key outcomes: solutions, connections, and information. So youth-led solutions that go to the heart of structural inequities that exist in society, using the lived experiences of multicultural young people to drive that social change. Connecting young people to businesses and organizations, a safe space for young people to design and deliver meaningfully through a support system that is unique, that's individualized, and that has impact. And lastly, around sort of information, the youth ed unit, that we aim to be leaders in sort of that youth-led frameworks by establishing partnerships with research and university institutes, so that we can actually look at, okay, how do you do a youth-led model really great? Because one of the things that we recognized doing this process is that everyone's sort of doing pockets of youth-led. Co-design is sort of a term that we like throwing around here, there, and everywhere. But who's doing it really good, and how is it meaningful for young people to actually participate? So we're wanting to sort of check how we're doing that. Again, we will send these out, but the youth-led unit services that we're looking at starting delivering next month are diversity workshops. Now, diversity workshops that we hope to work with corporations, businesses, organizations that employ or that work with high levels of multicultural young people, to see how are they, from young people's experiences, being able to deliver diversity workshops so that they can work better with those communities. Consultation and implementation services, and then an online hub. Again, I'm so sorry, but we will have to send this out to you guys in more depth in terms of what these services are. So I'm going to skip through some of these. And Kevin, did you want to talk to the impact and value stuff?
Oh, I can. Yeah, interesting. I was just going to note one other thing, and I think it ties into this as well, that the youth-led unit was something that was designed outside of the CMY usual structure. So having us have access, again, having direct access to the board generally and being given that chance was something that was very important for us. Being given the chance to speak directly to the board and have access to a large number of finances was also quite good. As a young person, I think sorry, going a little blank here. Yeah, the nature of the group itself provided us the chance to not only build our capacity, not only have sorry, really just went blank here, Bo.
It's all right. Do you want
Sorry,
me to take it? Yeah,
sorry.
cool. So look, in terms of the impact and value that we look to have in sort of the community as part of the youth ed unit is mainly around in the first 12 months is building the capacity of young people. And I'm really happy to hear some of the stuff that Finn was talking about in her presentation around building the capacity of youth workers and young people. So in the first 12 months, we've already created 10 volunteer roles as part of our committee of management. We're currently recruiting for project support officers, young people under the age of 30 to actually come in and start delivering some of these services and be trained up and supported to do that. And over the first 12 months, we're looking at providing 7 paid opportunities, whether they're part-time or casual roles. And then also looking at accessing for CMY, accessing new markets that we haven't worked in before. As you might know that we've just launched CM Sports, which is a new area trying to support sporting organizations and clubs in the sporting realm around diversity and inclusion. But also looking at accessing so many others, and we've already started to sort of do that mapping and having conversations with different people. So around 220 different connections that we're looking to make in the first 12 months. Now, quickly before we finish, I've got a quick video. It's only going to take, I think it's about a minute, and then we're done. And let's make sure sound can be shared.
So to me, the youth-led unit, I think, has a lot of significance. I think being a young person, especially the youngest in the group, I think it's really shown to me that there are organisations like you and like CMY, and there are board members like you that really want to invest in young people. I think this unit holds so much opportunity and potential for structural change.
I want everybody that comes into contact with the youth-led unit to come away empowered and ready for action.
We're going to make multicultural young people get involved, informed and inspired. It's never been done before. We want to pioneer a new way to engage with young people so they can get connected.
What the youth-led unit means for myself and for other multicultural young people, I feel, is the opportunity to be catapulted into the spaces, the opportunity, particularly the leadership environments that they might not otherwise have the opportunity to be in, and an opportunity as well for organizations to really be transformed to harness the potential that is an increasingly diverse multicultural Australia.
To me, the CMY investment is not only going to build on a new and innovative way for us to work, but it's also the next steps to amplifying the voices of our current and future multicultural youth.
So I'm going to cut there. I'm so sorry that we tried to fit 2 years of work in 10 minutes. So maybe next time I'll ask Sam for more time. But really, look, want to just say that the Youth Ed unit is now, we're up and running after 2 years of development and work. We do have a website that we're looking at launching very soon as well, but you can currently go on our CMY website and we've got a bit of a section there for the Youth Ed unit. You can contact us through that website, through the CMY website, or my phone's always on. I think I can see most of yous I've connected with or spoken to in the past. So yeah, my phone's always on. So just give me a call. Thank you, Kevin, for coming along as well and representing the young people that have been a part of this amazing journey for CMY. Great.
Thank you so much, Bo and Kevin. What a great intro. And what I thought you might want to do is send the PowerPoint round to the network so people can have a look at that in their own time. We'll also share this video round with the network for people to catch up, and they'll have your direct contact details then as well, Bo, for further follow-up. I guess if anybody's listening to this thinking, hey, we'd like to have the youth-led unit work with us, with our organization, do they just contact you? Do they go to the website? What's the best course of action from here?
Yeah, but we've got lots of different access points, but I think for the youth-led unit right now, it would be me, would be the best person to go through. You can also we've got a form that you can just fill in on our website page. I'll post it in the link, put your name, your contact number, your organization, and then I'll get back to you. Otherwise, yeah, I'm sure I'll just post my email and my number in the chat as well.
Yeah, awesome. No, it's such an exciting new way for CMY to work, and really looking forward to seeing what projects you work on and what you've got to share with us over time. There's some nice comments in the chat box for you both as well to have a look at. And yeah, massive thanks. Feel free, folks, to connect with Bo directly through the private chat or following up through email after today. All right, we're going to end recording there.